Alrighty, so it's been a while since I've done an account sort of update or showcase, and it's been a really good week for me on Grand Cross, to be honest, because I was able to finally get the Hati card that I have been trying so hard to get. If you watched my previous video, I talked about that and kind of showed off kind of what I was using to farm out Skull and Hati. And I hit 11 million box CC this week, which was kind of a big deal. I mean, that's a pretty big plus. It helps you out with a lot more HP percent and such. So I figured we would go over, the account buff, maybe look at my Constellation a little bit, look at the box a little bit, and then maybe look over my inventory. I don't know. I did put out a post and asked if there was anything else anybody really wanted to see. But some of the suggestions that I got honestly could be used as like their own video. Like people wanted to see all of my UR gear sets. People wanted to see which teams I use for each of the demonic beasts. Which that one we could like briefly glance over if you want. But I think I'll probably try to do maybe a little bit more of an in-depth video, which some of those teams are a little outdated because I don't play some of, like, my deer team is, like, probably severely outdated because I got all of those relics relatively fast, and I really haven't touched the deer in the last several months. So I'm sure there's a lot better teams that you could sort of put together now with some of the new updated units that we've got. But, yeah, let's go over the box and we'll kind of talk about everything. So I did hit 11 million box CC. Obviously now I get a 5% defense boost and a 14.5% HP boost, which is pretty nice. Can you even look at... Yeah, you can look at the old ones. What was the previous buff that I got? So I was just at 14%, so only a 0.5% increase on the HP, which isn't too bad. I mean, once I hit 12 million, I'll be at 15,000 or 15% HP. So that's really, really nice. Honestly, getting the defense is kind of just like a nice little touch, just because I've been using the Nalfamy team lately, and that one scales off of defense, so that's really cool. I am completely finished with the Constellation of Sloth at the moment. I am currently working on Gluttony, and it takes a really long time. They up each of the cost of the little things now, so each one of these is 30, whereas they used to be, I think, 25, and then each of the big orbs are 300, whereas they used to be 250 for previous ones. So I don't know if it's even cheaper on some of the old ones. I don't think it'll tell me anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm working my way through. You can see I'm only like 43% of the way through. So and it looks like I'm a really good ways in, but obviously I still got to go through a lot of these small ones, and a lot of these big ones aren't even lit up yet because I typically just end up, if I have GP on my account, I kind of just dump it in and let it do its own thing with the auto activation instead of going for the big orbs. I think the big orbs would probably be better if I just saved up and bought those instead, but I don't even worry about it, really. It's not that big of a deal to me. If you want to see the Constellation of Lust, since they've added the Chaos Constellation thing, they do refresh these every week, so you get 3 rerolls on each of these, and they are completely random. Unfortunately, they reroll the entirety of all 5 of these, which is really annoying, so you kind of just have to take what you can get. As you can see, I mean, mine aren't super crazy. This one's the only one, or well, yeah, I want to say this one's the only one that's anywhere near decent, but if it would be like gear, I think I would normally try to go for like 70% or higher, but I have no way to sort of guarantee that, or, I don't know. There's no like hammer equivalent. It's basically just like me using an anvil on the entirety of the thing and just hoping for the best, which is really stupid. I don't know if they're gonna add anything else to this. Honestly, I haven't even done the dungeon for this yet. Maybe I assume this is just for re-rolling as well, but I honestly don't know. I haven't messed with it at all. If you've seen anybody mess with these at all, feel free to let me know, because who knows, maybe it is worth my time. But I'm always so like focused on getting Super Awakening coins, or if I'm caught up on Super Awakening coins, I'll grab anvils, because going for upgrading my box and upgrading my gear is always a much more worthwhile endeavor for me at the moment. Obviously, once I get my box sort of all the way built up, whenever that ever happens, then I would be more inclined to work on my Constellation stuff with that. But Yeah, at the moment, basically anytime I get a dungeon key, I basically just do the Super Awakening Coin dungeon, because as you can see, there's still a lot of characters that I need to Super Awaken here and there. So I do have my box filtered by heroes and ascending. Every time I look at my box, there's always somebody who asks, so yeah, that's how I do that. So that way I have pretty much all of my sins, except for Escanor. For some reason, Escanor ends up getting pushed way down here, and then I don't know why, but yeah, all of my characters are looking pretty good. Obviously, the ultimate levels on my account are pretty lacking in some departments. Like I have, 2-6, 2-6. Even on some of these really old characters, I have like 1-6s because way back in the day, I really didn't care about ultimate levels. I just wanted to use them for Super Awakening instead, which I think is fair. In the early days of like building an account, I think having characters built up is way more important than having ultimate levels on characters that you're never going to use. Obviously, now I kind of wish I had, put some ultimate levels in these so that way my GP is higher, but I think it was way more worth it back then to be able to use characters on the spot, whereas, I'm still not ever using any of these bonds, really. The only bond that I even use is the blue one, because he cheeses stuff with Demonic Beast Battle with this stupid passive sometimes, but even then it's kind of like a gimmick for like the first couple of weeks that a new boss is out, so probably not worth it in the long run, but it is what it is. But yeah, there's still characters that I don't have any Super Awakening on. I do work on my level quite a bit, so if we go to my level, I obviously still have these two level 60. Really wish they were lower than 60, but it is what it is. I know every time anybody talks about it, they're always like, I accidentally powered them up too far, or you kept them where they needed to be. But all of my characters are at least level 80 or higher, which I think is a really nice little milestone for me. I worked on that for quite a while. We really don't have too many characters before we start to hit the level 90s, which I think is also really nice. I sort of just work on these in my off time. I have been working on some of the SR characters more lately, SR and rare characters, just so that way I can kind of boost them all up and get them out of the way, because I like to save at least a full stack of Super Awakening coins not Super Awakening coins, SSR pendants if I can, because you never know when anything crazy is going to happen. As of the time of recording this, there's rumored to be a collabs coming out sometime soon, so if we look at the AOT characters, for example, we're on characteristics already, so if I go to collab, my AOT characters are all level 90, but I still need to Super Awaken the rest of Aaron, and I still need to Super Awaken almost all of Mikasa, so yeah. On top of, like, if the Attack on Titan collab is the one that we end up getting a rerun of, which I think is the most likely scenario at the moment, I'll have to level 100 all of these characters. I'll have to Super Awaken the rest of these characters, because they'll more than likely either get buffed or get a Holy Relic that's going to make them worth showcasing again. And on top of that, they're going to probably add 2 new characters to the collab, or to the Attack on Titan character set, because every time they do a rerun, they bring the old characters back, and then they add 2 new characters to it. So I'll also have to completely, power up those new characters, and on top of, finish up the rest of these characters. So I've been trying to work on these a little bit. They were like level 80 or lower recently, but I at least got them to level 90. I just recently Super Awakened Levi all the way up. But as it is, these characters really aren't that great. Hopefully they do get a stat boost whenever they bring back the collab, but yeah, I just kind of try to take everything one at a time. If there's a new character set that comes out, or like a new character that changes up the meta, for example, Mayel just came out not too long ago, so I've been working on some of the goddess, honestly, I think my goddess characters have been pretty invested into already. So as you can see, like, I do have pretty much I have all of my like archangels at level 100 fully Super Awakened, because the grace on him is so important, and it's so nice to have like basically a second passive on characters by putting them in the link slot, that it's just worth investing into them in general. There's probably a lot of demon characters that I don't have completely powered up, even though the demon team was really relevant, but there's a lot of demons that aren't really good. For example, like, because Purgatory Meliodas came out and kind of made the demon team even more relevant than it already kind of was because of Estarossa, because you're already running a melee on the team, you don't have to worry about any of the other melees. A lot of these old school commandment characters are pretty bad, so you don't even really have to worry about them. I don't know. I would love to invest in some of these characters. I'd love for them to make new characters, like a new Galland would be really cool. Really like Monspeet, that would be really nice. I don't know. Maybe I like the other commandments too. So like Droll and Gloxinia, I would love to see a new version of those at some point. Even though the demon team has gone into more of like a single race meta and not necessarily a demons and commandments sort of meta like it used to be with like assault mode. So Droll and Gloxinia probably aren't going to get the love that they deserve there. But let's go over my inventory a little bit just because we'll kind of end it off there. I will try to make some of those other videos, like going over my sets and my all of my Creature's Nest teams and everything like that in probably a separate video. We'll do probably separate ones for each of those, but I have just recently, normally I have more of these card plates. I had a bunch of UR ones from farming Skull and Hati. I pulled like 6 of the Skull cards before I even got a Hati card, but powering up the card set for Nidhogg, I ended up using a lot of my plates for that. It was actually a lot more expensive than I anticipated it to be. As you can see, I have 85 Super Awakening coins at the moment. If I'm not mistaken, at the time of recording this, the next update has an Event Tower of Trials, so hopefully I'll be able to grab more there, and on top of that, I'll probably use my Dungeon Key for the week on Super Awakening coins as well, so that way I can make sure that I have enough for any sort of like big drops. I know that there's supposed to be a Magelda coming out soon. I have a bunch of Holy Relic materials at the moment because I've been doing a lot of Holy Relic stuff lately. I have a ton of these Brock's Strength, and I don't really think that they're worth having. Like, I probably need to get rid of some of these because I don't even think I'd be able to use all of these at this point, but after I completely get caught up on the bird relics, I'll probably reassess my inventory as far as the Holy Relic materials goes. But yeah, I have a bunch of the pizza slices at the moment. Are they all? No, they're all different names. I can't generalize it. They just look like pizza slices to me because this is Volander's Tenacity. This one is Etry's Meticulousness. So there's not like a common word that all of them use, so that's unfortunate. I don't have a whole lot of Nidhogg materials because I don't play Nidhogg yet. I'm kind of waiting. I do have the card set now, and I do have the new Ludo, who isn't necessarily like completely catered towards the Nidhogg boss, but could be okay. I need to mess around with him a little bit for a video probably, and we'll kind of get a feel for him there. I just need to learn the mechanics of it more before I really invest more time into it. As you can see, I have a ton of these because of all of the Skull and Hati farming. I had even more, but I just made my last Skull and Hati relic lately. So we'll go over to the relics after this. But yeah, I need to keep getting the Unknown Magic Essence because there's still 5 more bird relics that I need to get. So I'm sitting on a lot of demon cubes, a lot of human cubes, and I don't have any gold cubes, which is unfortunate because the deer is the only one that drops gold cubes, and I'm completely caught up on the deer, so I have no reason to run it. So that sucks. As you can see, I am 6 of the corruption source on the way into making a new Nidhogg relic, but it's just because I've basically only been doing floor 1. I think these are going to end up being my bottleneck because you need like 30 of these, whereas you only need 15 of these, so I need to maybe hop on that a little bit more. Have enough for an extra Skull and Hati relic if they ever drop it. I have enough of these for 2 deer relics, but I'm way behind on the Sublimity of Valkyrie, so if they do ever make more, I'll have to farm it for those, and gold cubes, of course, if they end up needing those. Still working on the deer, or the bird a little bit. I'm a little bit behind on these at the moment, so I'm going to plan on farming those a little bit more often. I try to sit on at least 2 stacks of cosmetic upgrade materials for when big characters come out, and like at the moment, for example, like Mael has already dropped. I've already completely upgraded all of Mael's costumes and everything, so because we got a Ludo, and I've already invested into old Ludo, and he uses the same Ludo's cosmetics, I didn't have to worry about upgrading him at all. And then the next character that's supposed to be coming out is a Magelda, who's supposed to be using the same costumes as the old Magelda, so I don't have to worry about using them on them, or using the cosmetic upgrades on that character as well. So I've been kind of investing into my Ragnarok Bond a little bit more because I've had weapon pieces and hair pieces that weren't completely upgraded, so I just try to take things as I can. Obviously, if there's a collab around the corner, I probably should be saving these up so that way I can invest in those costumes, but sitting on a good amount of original demon energy. I've been farming this one a lot, Belmoth cores, because I know that because my characters are level 80 and I'm pushing them into level 90, I'm gonna need a lot of Belmoth cores for that, of course. So I've been focusing on this more because I'm not necessarily worried about getting all my characters to level 100 at the moment, but it does take a lot of these to get a character to level 100. I think it's 125 of these per character, so that's a lot, and I should be good for at least whenever the new characters come out at the moment, and then I'll probably have to farm more later. I try not to sit on too much of these materials anymore. Like these horns have just gathered up, like I've kind of just accumulated a lot of these from the events and stuff that are going on, and because all of my characters are level 80 at this point, I don't really even use these for Awakening anymore, so I can probably just sell a couple of these off. I could probably sell off more than that, but I don't want to go too overboard with it because I will need them for new characters, of course, but I can kind of, as you sort of progress up through the tiers of your account, you can kind of get rid of some of your older materials, I guess. As you can see, my box is only still at, like, I can only have 325 items in my inventory, or that's individual, like, stacks, I guess, but I don't want to waste diamonds on inventory space. I just consolidate my inventory pretty often and try to keep it as organized as I can, and I think it works out for me. So sitting on a good amount of SSR pendants. I have good SR pendants and R pendants at the moment, but I use a lot of the older pendants for whenever the King event comes around. You can exchange his materials for actually decent materials a lot of the times whenever festivals and like big celebrations come out. So I try not to waste too many of these. But I am trying to work on getting all of those characters up to level 100 at this point. I try to sit on at least 70 of a lot of these books. Looks like I've been using up a little bit of the blue books and stuff like that lately, but yeah, I don't know, the 6-star books, obviously you go through the most because once you get a character up to level 60, I think you have to use the 6-star books from there all the way up to level 100. So yeah, it takes quite a bit of grinding to keep up with those sometimes. Try to sit on good XP pots because just going from level 90 to 100 nowadays is a lot of XP potions. It's really crazy. Normally I have more anvils, but I've been working on a little bit of gear stuff. I try to keep my gear as neat as I can. I try to keep sets that I can just immediately throw on new characters ready to go. So I can kind of show you that. I have a bunch of, upgrade materials for like when I make gear, decent stones and everything, so that way I can continue to make gear. Basically what I do is the first 4 characters in my box, which end up being, because I sort my box like this, it's always these 4 melees. I just put sets on them, so I have an attack crit set, HP defense set, attack crit set, HP defense set. So I just do it like this so that way I can kind of work on these with rolls if I want to. Obviously the set is completely busted at the moment. I'll have to work on that one completely, but I have an HP defense set here that I've been working on. It looks like everything's okay. Like these attack rolls are not great. These defense rolls are not great. This one's okay at best. This one's almost 14%. This one is 14%, so that one's looking okay. I think this attack crit set is done as well. I mean, I say done. Obviously, this defense piece needs to be done, but I try to keep it as close to being like ready to throw on a character and UR it as much as I can, so that way as soon as new characters come out, obviously if it's a character that I already have a couple of UR sets for, I normally don't have to worry about throwing a brand new UR gear set for them. So that's kind of nice. It helps me sort of catch up. But I do have a lot of UR gear sets. Obviously, like I said, I'll try to make a video on that later on. I have tons and tons of UR gear, which is why I'm not going to try to do that in this video. I think that would be more suited for a dedicated video. Let's go over the relics really quickly, and then we'll end this off. This is already way longer than I thought it was going to be. So the only relics that I'm missing currently are Nunchuck Bond, Old School Lilia, Old School Easton, New School Valenti, just because I don't really ever use this Valenti, and then I am missing Aliones for whatever reason, but it's just priority, I guess. I thought something else was probably more worth getting at the time, which I'm planning on probably making Nunchuck Bond or Easton's first in this scenario either way, because as I'm farming these out, I'll end up getting more of these. So if I just went for this one, I would have to wait until I farmed out a whole bunch more because I'm already sitting on 15 win sources. Plus, these 2 characters already have 3 characters that will get the relics, so that'll be a nice little chunk of CC that I get. But yeah, obviously there's a lot of the ones that I already have. There's 33 relics in total for the bird, so I'm still lacking. Like, the bird's been out for so long and it hasn't got any new relics in a while, but I've just been focused on some of the newer ones. Obviously, like I said, I've already got all of Icthernir's relics, so yeah, they're mainly just fairies and goddesses, which were kind of fun to work on. Honestly, having all of your archangel relics and stuff like that is really nice. I am now completely caught up on Skull and Hati. The last one that I built was Gningagap Galaxy Gloves, so that is for old school small Deanne. Not really a big fan of using that character at all, really. I think I can use her as a link if I use Skinny King, but when am I gonna do that? So yeah, I don't know. A lot of these relics are actually pretty good. Most notably, this one is very disappointing. But yeah, some very good relics in here, like King's. We have Thonar's Relic, which is, of course, good for running more dogs. Chandler's Relic is very pog, very champ. Nanashi's is very good as well. A lot of just decent relics in this. And then, obviously, we have Nidhogg relics, which the only one I have is Freya's. And that's just because I bought it, because I wanted to make sure that when I do dedicate time to Nidhogg, it's going to be, hopefully, as easy as I can possibly get it. Because I don't know, whenever they come out with a new demonic beast, it's agony. It sucks. So, yeah, just trying to make sure, like, I've got the gear set now, I've got the Freya relic, I've got Mael, I've got a decent team kind of set up for it, ready to go. Obviously, with the team that I have, I could probably do it, but it would be very tedious, very annoying, just because we're in those early stages of the demonic beast. So I still need to learn all of the mechanics to it and everything, but I don't have any of the initial relics that they launched with it. So yeah, I don't necessarily think I'm super inclined to really want to build any of these, so that's why I haven't really pushed for trying to make any of them, like playing the game mode anymore. But I don't know, hopefully they'll add some new relics soon. Hopefully by the time they do, I will hopefully have enough of these materials to make it whenever it comes out. But yeah, if you want to see my teams, this one is like almost pure damage. Magelda helps a lot with just healing up a little bit here and there. I don't know, I don't really want to go through explaining these because I'll try to do that in a separate video, but just basically crazy damage is the goal there. This one is I use Elat for debuff immunity, and the defense increase, so I can't be ultimate move gauge lowered in the last floor, so that way I can just blow through it with these 2 ultimates. The Skull and Hati one I just went over in the last video, but King is really nice for if I'm not running a heal on the team. He's really nice because he puts a shield on. Thonar gives a lot of HP related stats, so I can just lifesteal my HP back if I need to. And then he also has a cleanse on his ultimate, which is very, very helpful because the black dog is super annoying. And then for Nidhogg, this is the most meta team at the moment. This is the one that people seem to use the most, but I really don't play it enough to really even know the mechanics to the fight very well, so I just don't really mess around with it too much. This is just the team that people use, so I already have it set, and I've messed around with floor 1 a couple of times, but I've not even been able to really do anything in floor 2 yet. So that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm really happy with the account progress that I've had so far. At least this week, I feel like I've hit 11 million, which was kind of like a huge relief. Like, I'm really glad that I could finally do that, because I was about 200,000 CC away from it for the past maybe 2 months or so. So with Ludo coming out and just small increases on the box here and there, I've finally been able to get that. Honestly, finishing off the dog relics is kind of a nice little relief too. I think I'll feel really good about it once I get the last 5 of the bird relics and everything, and then I can basically just focus on Nidhogg completely, not have to worry about running old demonic beasts, because there's not really going to be any point for me to. Plus, they basically never add relics for old ones anymore, which is really disappointing, honestly, but it is what it is, I guess. So, I don't know. Hopefully, this was kind of insightful. I don't know if you have any questions or anything. Feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Be happy to answer them for you or anything. But yeah, I'll try to make a video on all of my UR gear sets and my demonic beast teams a little bit more in depth, maybe. And yeah, I think that was basically it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe and all that good stuff if you want. If you made it all the way to the end, leave me a little apple emoji or something, because I don't know, it'd be cool to see if you made it to the end. But that's it from me. So yeah, feel free to subscribe if you made it all the way. I will see you guys later.